Sheikh Hamdan's crying eyes said everything today. Today, his eyes spoke before his lips. They carried stories no crown could hide. Tears rested quietly on unspoken truths. A softness wrapped around his strength, and the world paused to listen gently. No words were needed in that moment, because sorrow has its own language. His gaze fell like evening over dunes, heavy with love, remembrance, and prayer, clear as rain on silent stone. People searched his face for answers, but answers lived inside his breathing. Each blink held 1,000 memories. Each tear carried a promise unfinished. Each silence became a confession. He stood where lights could not comfort, where applause could not reach the heart. Only love stood beside his weakness. Only faith steadied his trembling calm. Only honesty remained undefeated. Those eyes remembered nights of waiting, voices once close, now far, like stars, hands once held, now living in dreams, promises kept even when broken, hope surviving quietly through pain. He did not cry from losing power. He cried from loving without condition, from carrying others before himself, from choosing truth over easy pride, from learning that love asks courage. The city felt the weight of that look. A hush settled across crowded streets. Windows reflected shared understanding. Even strangers felt a tender ache, as if grief had touched every soul. His tears were not a public plea. They were a private prayer revealed, a man asking heaven for mercy, for guidance, for strength to protect what his heart still holds sacred. In those eyes lived gentler victories, the kind no history books record. The victory of staying kind when the world demands hardness, the victory of loving quietly. Some tears fall to be seen, others fall to cleanse the soul. His tears chose the second path, washing the dust from old wounds, making room for a braver tomorrow. No rumor could explain that moment. No headline could hold its depth. Only those who have loved deeply understood the language of his eyes, understood the cost of devotion. When he finally looked up again, the tears had taught their lesson. Strength returned without arrogance, calm returned without distance, and dignity stood taller than pride. Today, his crying eyes said everything. They said, love remains undefeated. They said, pain can coexist with grace. They said, hearts can lead kingdoms better than silence ever could. And as the day slowly faded, those eyes carried a softer light, not broken, not defeated, not lost. Just human, just honest, just true, teaching the world how to feel again. His eyes spoke before any words arrived. They carried stories heavier than crowns. A silence rested upon his lashes, tears held back by years of strength, and the world finally felt his heart. No announcement echoed through halls, no guards moved, no cameras flashed. Only a man standing with truth, breathing slowly beneath the sky, letting his eyes confess everything. They saw love that waited patiently, love that learned through quiet pain, love that never asked for applause. Only understanding, only time, only one heart to remain true. Those eyes remembered forgotten nights, when prayers were whispered, not spoken, when dreams were folded into silence, and hope was carried like a secret, hidden beneath courage and duty. Today his eyes looked softer, not weak but deeply human. They shimmered with gratitude and loss, with promises kept and broken, with love that never truly left. People watched and felt the weight of emotions too honest to hide, because when a strong heart trembles, it teaches the world compassion. It reminds us that love humbles all. His tears did not fall for sorrow alone. They fell for growth and surrender, for learning that love is not control, but trust, patience, and vulnerability, a lesson written in quiet tears. In those eyes lived 1,000 poems, unwritten yet deeply understood. Each blink carried a memory, each breath released a burden, each tear healed an old wound. The city paused to respect that moment, not out of shock, but recognition, for everyone saw their own pain reflected in his gentle gaze, and felt less alone because of it. Those crying eyes said, I have loved. They said, I have waited and learned. They said, I am still standing, even after storms tried to break me, even after silence tested my faith. They said, love does not make us small. It makes us honest and brave. It asks us to feel without armor, to choose softness over pride, to be real even before the world. Today, his eyes told a quiet truth, that behind strength lives tenderness, behind duty lives longing, behind silence lives devotion, and behind tears lives healing. No speech could match that moment. No headline could capture its depth, because crying eyes never lie. They carry what the heart protects. They reveal what words fear to say. And when he finally looked away, the world held its breath, knowing it had just witnessed. Not weakness, not drama, but the pure courage of feeling. Those eyes said everything today. And somehow that was enough. Enough to soften hardened hearts. Enough to remind us all that love, the truest understanding that love delayed, still deserves to arrive whole. He chose not what was expected, but what felt true to his soul. He chose the person who stayed, even when distance tested devotion, even when silence felt unbearable. Tonight, the stars witnessed courage, not of power, but of surrender, because love, taking a step forward, is braver than any command, braver than wearing any crown. The city will talk for days, but history will remember the feeling that today love was allowed to breathe, that one heart chose another openly, and taught the world something rare. That love does not need approval. It needs honesty, timing, and faith. And sometimes it arrives unexpectedly, taking a step no one expected, yet everyone secretly hoped for. And somewhere one heart felt seen, felt chosen without explanation, felt safe after years of quiet waiting, because today love finally moved. And nothing will ever feel the same. Today, love chose a fearless direction, not guided by crowns or old rules. It walked straight through, whispered doubts, holding only truth in its hands, and courage beating inside the chest. No one expected love to speak. No one expected silence to break. But the heart does not ask permission. When it decides to step forward, it simply moves toward what is real. He stood where eyes were watching, yet his heart looked only one way, toward the soul who waited quietly, carrying years of unseen patience and love that never asked for proof. This step was not loud or dramatic. It was soft yet earth-shaking, a single choice made with honesty that turned years of waiting into light. and fear into peaceful surrender. People thought love followed tradition, but today love wrote its own path. It chose loyalty over expectation. It chose feeling over fear. It chose truth over comfort. His eyes held a calm resolve, the kind born after long storms, when heartbreak teaches the soul what truly matters in the end, and what is worth standing alone for. This step surprised the whole world, because it was not for